I mentioned a book to you a couple of weeks ago. What colour is your parachute? This is full of careers advice and how to make decisions and interview techniques and things. So various people have been coming to borrow it. So I ordered another 6 copies. So you can come and get another copy. I think there's something waiting in my postbox for me. So look, this is on your mind. And just in the gospel today, St. John the Baptist gives a lesson in how not to do a job interview. Hope you're listening. The priests and the Levites come from Jerusalem to interrogate him. So this is the hardcore interview panel, the top brass. As you know, one of the standard questions you have to prepare for at the beginning of the interview is that soft question, but very, very hard. So, tell us something about yourself. Yeah? You're nodding away, you've had that asked. So tell us something about yourself. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but in effect, they ask this question to John the Baptist today, and his answer is no. No, I won't. And there's an embarrassing silence. So they go into a bit more detail. Are you the Christ? No. Are you Elijah? No. Are you the prophet? No. This is not a good interview, just by the way. On the other hand, it really, really is. Because what's he doing? He's telling the truth. He's asked a question and he's telling the truth. And this is what's shocking. We're so used to people not telling the truth. And when we speak, so often we're trying to fit what we say into what other people want to hear. Especially in interviews, but much more than that. Sometimes, ordinary conversation, we tell lies and we know it's wrong, but we do it anyway. But more often, we're not lying, but we're trying to make our words attractive or acceptable to the person we're speaking to. It's very natural. It's a human gift, actually, that we can please people and get into the minds of other people. Psychologists sitting here will tell me all about this other-mindedness, this mind-readingness, which is a human characteristic, and how actually it's a gift that in some ways we can deceive and manipulate. It allows human relations in a neutral sense. But it can get to the stage where our whole life is a performance. Our whole life can become a performance. Everything we say is designed to please or to be socially acceptable. We're constantly censoring our real thoughts or feelings, thinking about how they will play to the people we're speaking to, trying to fit in. And we forget who we really are, that life is a reality and not just a performance. So John the Baptist startles us today, first of all, simply because he tells the truth. Okay, but also there's something about his humility as well. The people want to put him on a pedestal. He is an extraordinary person. Back to what I said a few weeks ago, speaking about gifts, he is incredibly gifted. They think he's the Messiah, or Elijah come back from the dead, or a great prophet. Now, he is a great prophet, but not in the way they think. And it would have been so tempting for him to show off, to big himself up. He's in the spotlight, and there comes the great danger of pride, of thinking that you are better than others, superior, looking down on other people, thinking about your achievements, and thinking that the craziness, the delusion, really thinking that the gifts you have are your achievements and other people are inferior to you, forgetting that everything you have, everything, is a gift from God and could so easily be taken away. So John the Baptist, secondly, is an example not just of truth-telling, but of humility. I am not these great people, I am just me. He recognizes his weakness, his littleness in the sight of God. And that's not a threat to him. This is what's so beautiful. Quite the opposite. It allows him to be himself and to be himself with others. Reminds me of a book. I know some of you've read this because I'm also always recommending this as well. A book by the Catholic author Carol Houselander. Carol Houselander, which is called The Reed of God. R-E-E-D, The Reed of God, which is a lovely reflection about the Virgin Mary. And the central image in this book, the central metaphor, is that Mary is like a reed, a straw, that God takes and holds in his hands. And through her, he plays the most beautiful music. We'd say she becomes like a flute. And why can he play such a beautiful tune through the Virgin Mary? It's because of her emptiness. The hollowness in the reed, in the straw, in the flute is what allows the air to flow through the instrument in the hands of the great musician, God. The reason that Mary could sing such a beautiful song, her life, her Magnificat, the reason that God could do such beautiful and important things through her was precisely because of her humility. That inner space and emptiness, that inner freedom. Her life, her heart, was not crammed full of pride or distractions or sin. What seems to us like emptiness is actually a space where the Holy Spirit can breathe and create something beautiful. Can you imagine picking up a flute and thinking, this is too light, it's too empty, I'm going to put some stuff inside it? Crazy, not appreciating the nature of the flute. Many of you have been experiencing this tension, this panic of emptiness and wanting to fill it because of the pandemic over the last few months, and especially this semester at university. The social distancing rules, the lockdowns. Even here in London, we are still in tier 2, which means you can't meet friends outside your household. You have had so much unexpected and unwanted isolation and space in your diary and in your life. Meetings and events are cancelled. Classes are moved onto Zoom or shortened. Relationships even are put on hold. You simply have more time on your hands, more time alone in your rooms. It's been incredibly hard. And most of this we just want to end, quite rightly. But part of this is the part I want to talk about, it has created some space and silence and emptiness. And honestly, we have not always dealt with that very well, have we? We're not used to it. It's frightened us. And the danger we've all had of just trying to fill the space and the silence with stuff, noise, activity, distractions, even sin. A psychologist friend told me how many addictive behaviors have come to the surface in this time in the people that she's been speaking to. old compulsions and habits that maybe had disappeared or died down, and they've come to the surface again in this silence. I'm not saying it's easy, and I do wish it were over, but if only we knew how to live with silence, to live with ourselves a bit better. It's what Mary teaches us in the silence just before the angel Gabriel comes to her. All the paintings of the Annunciation, it's the angel in the room or in the garden with Mary, isn't it? Think of the painting of Mary in the room, in the garden, just before the angel comes, and the stillness and the silence that must have been present there in that space, that allowed the angel to come and allowed her to hear. The same silence and space that St. John the Baptist experiences in the wilderness. There can be something fruitful and holy about even the unwanted space and silence that we've had. For us to live in that more willingly and to be less afraid and not to fill it, to fill the space, to clutter and stuff the flute, the reed with things that get in the way. And there's an invitation there. Really, I've said many other things about needing to keep company and to keep busy, so I'm not taking that back, but part of this period is that invitation. And just a third thing I think we learn from St. John today is he didn't just come to be silent, he came to say something. He was, this is his answer when he finally spoke, he was a voice crying in the wilderness, pointing to Jesus Christ. So no, he's not the Messiah, he's not Elijah, he's not on a pedestal, but yes, he has something really important to do. This is his true identity, to actually point away from himself, like a mirror reflecting the light. Incredible dignity, but not to be the light, to reflect the light, or a light that's pointing to a light. Yeah, here's the tabernacle. Sorry, you can't see it in the live stream. We've got our tabernacle at the side here. There's the light, and beside it, a tiny candle flickering away. A light that leads us to the true light. This is John the Baptist. This is us. Our vocation is not to put ourselves on a pedestal, despite what the world tells you and the university's telling you. You've got great things in store for you. Well, it's true, but it's maybe not the greatness that everyone's talking about. Our greatness is to point to Christ and to help others to know him. This is the meaning of our life, to know the love of Jesus Christ and to help others to know that love. The tragedy is that we often think we have another meaning and we miss the real meaning. Or there's a sub-meaning, a meaning on the way. There are provisional meanings. Yes, the meaning when I get up in the morning of my life is to brush my teeth. There are lots of little meanings, but to miss the big meaning and get caught up in the little meanings, this is the tragedy. You don't have to become publicly a missionary. Some of you will be called to a vocation to be a missionary, but we are all called, as Pope Francis has said so many times, to be missionary disciples. In other words, part of the package, I'm sorry if you didn't want this, of being a Christian is being a missionary disciple. You don't necessarily need a program. Your program might just be what St. Paul says in his letter today. Let me quote it, it's very simple. 1 Thessalonians, rejoice at all times, pray constantly, and for all things give thanks to God. These are the gifts of the Spirit, not things that we can achieve by ourselves. But when your life is filled with the genuine joy that comes from faith, when you are a person of prayer. We use that word. We say someone is prayerful, full of prayer. Not just that you say your prayers in the morning, but you are a prayerful person, full of prayer. And when you are a person of gratitude, grateful for your life, for your faith, grateful for today, for the big blessings and the small blessings, if you can't see any big blessings. When you're joyful, prayerful, grateful, this is very rare. It's very rare to see in someone. And when you do see it, it marks you. And when you look around you and you think of your friends and the people you meet, the one or two people that really are like this, and if you would like to be like that for others, and imagining that this incredible vocation of leading others to Christ, which seems so beyond us, but actually the more we realize it's beyond us, the more we can begin to do it. Because we're simply living the Christian life, we're simply telling the truth, speaking truthfully, we're simply letting go of the things that get in the way and allowing that space. And when we simply do this, then the Father can breathe his Holy Spirit through us, and we become a music that speaks and sings of Jesus Christ and leads others to know him. This is such a beautiful vocation, such a gift, and it's what we're invited to today.